Well, how important is this season with an ownership group that has a propensity to be very impulsive? I would say that it's very important. I would say that every single game matters and they are extremely results driven. That is my opinion, but it's my opinion based on what we've seen. Everything that we've seen supports that, right? We haven't seen very much as it pertains to growth and moving in a direction. And hey, even though you didn't get the result, we still did X or we still did Y. Do you have the playoff revenue or not? Because if I don't have the playoff revenue, that means we didn't make the playoffs. And the reason we didn't make the playoffs, whether it was Luka flopping on Malik, whether it was Kevin Huerter messing up his shoulder, doesn't matter. I did not get playoff revenue last season, and that matters to me. That is how I'm reading the situation. So I don't even really want to pay you, Mike Brown, because I need playoff revenue as often as possible. But I'm going to pay you anyway. Oh, 5-game losing streak, goodbye. So because of that, I can't sit here and watch this team and think, oh, this team is going to get, I don't know, 3-5 years? No, we can settle in with this team. Why would I believe that? They essentially turned down better draft capital in the De'Aaron Fox trade for win now pieces. So what are you supposed to do, Johnny? You're supposed to win now. Let's take a look at the breakdown. So I made this breakdown of the team and who I feel comfortable saying will be on the team next season. This is based on what I'm hearing internally. Now, number one, the only player, I'll just get this out the way now. The only player that I feel about 98% sure that he will be on the team next season out of the core rotation pieces, the only player, and I'm not counting Keon, I'm not counting Jonas Valanciunas, kind of the bigger names here. The only player that I'm positive will be on the team next season is Zach LaVine. And if you were listening during the crossover, during crosstalk, some of that is because of how good Zach LaVine is. Some of that is because of that contract. But I am pretty darn sure Zach LaVine will be on the team next season. Now let's go through the rest of those pieces, okay? Let's start with somebody that I thought was going to be basically a shoo-in, right? His name is Doug Christie. Well, if you take a look at what's going on in Philadelphia, if you take a look at what's going on in Phoenix, if you take a look at what's going on to a lesser degree in Orlando, these are very, very sexy names on the merry-go-round, the coaching carousel. All right? Now, Nick Nurse dealt with some injuries, but maybe the Sixers just go in a different direction. You telling me that if Nick Nurse becomes available, that the leadership group of the Kings wouldn't look at that? Nick Nurse, champion? You telling me if the 76ers move on from him? You telling me if Mike Budenholzer, again, champion, is available, the Kings don't kick the tires on something like that? Well, Doug, we liked what you did, but, we had some opportunities there. That Nuggets game, I know you didn't have Sabonis, and I know you didn't have Malik Monk. I know, but, these guys have been to the promised land, and they're willing to come to Sacramento. So let's just start there with Doug Christie. I don't know. It's a weird situation. You lose Luke Laux, who, by the way, there were some interesting quotes from Doug Christie about losing Luke Laux, and he talks about how much work he's been doing. Doug Christie does, as Luke Laux is now headed to Florida State to hang out with Dave. So you're telling me if Nick Nurse is available, Mike Budenholzer available, the Kings, that's another sexy name. We get to say that a former champion is coaching our team. Not Mike Brown and not the assistant, not the champion as an assistant coach, a real champion coming to Sacramento. That's good stuff. Now let's go to Domas. Domantas Sabonis, the reports are already out. He's planning on meeting with the team. I feel pretty confident that Domas will be on the team next season, in part, be honest with you, because of that contract as well. But I feel pretty confident saying that Domas will be on the squad. But the reports are out. And the last time we saw reports about meeting with the team for the direction, if you recall, because it was just a couple months ago, didn't go so well. So you have that going on. Malik Monk, a very, very good contract. We all felt like he took a pay cut. Now, how much of that is true? I've heard some things, and maybe the money wasn't as much of a driver as one would think. Maybe we out here in Sacramento overstated or overestimated how much money was available for Malik. Maybe. I'm just saying what I may or may have not have heard. But Malik is here on a pretty darn good contract, which could net you a nice return if you decide to go in that direction. Okay, you need a point guard. Who knows? Keegan Murray. He could sign a contract and stay this offseason, sign his extension. They could do the Jordan Poole where they sign him, get through this season, and then move him, just like what the Warriors did. Or he could not sign and hit restricted free agency. And what happens if Keegan has a crazy, you can match. What happens if Keegan presses himself out? You can match, but they'd have to do it. Maybe the Kings don't feel like doing it. DeMar DeRozan, we discussed, turns 36 in August. He wants to play for a winner. I don't know, but I don't know this for a fact, but I'm not sure DeMar DeRozan wants to be logging 44 minutes at age 36. I know it went to overtime, but DeMar DeRozan's playing a lot of minutes. I truly don't know what DeMar DeRozan wants. Does he want to be the number one? Does he like taking all these shots? When he came to Sacramento, was he planning on taking the mantle from De'Aaron? Would he rather be a number 3 on a championship team? I do not know. He's already come out and said the coach that he signed to is gone. One of the main guys that recruited him is gone. And you're back with Zach LaVine, who, yeah, they had a good season together when they were both all-stars. But really, because of injury, they went back and forth on how much they played together and how much it actually works. We don't really have a big enough sample size, whether it works or not. These guys were both injured, in and out. Zach LaVine mostly. So it was DeMar DeRozan's team. Then it was Zach LaVine's team. Now it's both of them in Sacramento. So you have all of that going on. So all of those guys, we know Jake LaRavia is gone. He's the summer girlfriend that you just enjoy. And when she moves, you say, oh, let's keep in touch. And you don't. You don't. Maybe for a little bit. Back in my day, you message them on Facebook here or there, and then it just stops, right? We know Jonas Valanciunas is going to be here, but again, I'm talking about some of the other guys and Keon Ellis. He's going to have some decisions to make as well. But, you know, a lot of people, Alan, that was a character game. Alan, they're playing. Well, no, you're not wrong. You're actually right. And I agree with you. But these timelines aren't adding up. If this was a organization that had shown, hey, we're here about the growth. We're here to try to build something. Well, number one, you probably don't have Doug Christie coaching right now, and you don't have this team. But the fact that we are in this situation with the land of misfit toys, if you will, with a lot of talent, still trying to bring everything together. And yeah, was it bad luck that Malik Monk went down? Yes. And bad luck that Domantas Sabonis has gone down? Yes. Both at the same time. But you're really tightening up the reins on the chances of things happening and what you expect to happen in those situations. So now everything is more important because you don't have time. Because you're trying to implement a new number one. You're trying to implement a new coach. You're trying to implement a new rotation all at the same time, and injuries happen in the sport. So it might feel like it's bad luck. No, it's kind of just the bed you made. Everybody is dealing with it.
You just got to play a Clippers team with no Norm Powell. You just got to play a Nuggets team with no Aaron Gordon. Tonight you'll play a Knicks team with no Jalen Brunson. Jonathan Kuminga, the Warriors all over there, they made the move for Jimmy Butler. Jonathan Kuminga was playing the best basketball of his life. You got to find a way to keep it pushing. They have added too many. They continue to add too many variables into this equation. And with all that being said, we have no clue if this equation is going to make it to next season. The only person that I am quite positive out of this core rotation that will be on the team is Zach LaVine. That's it. So that's why I react the way I react. That's it. On the other side, we talk about those playoff odds, and we talk about how important